And we are live. Happy Sunday, everyone. Thank you for joining. Gordana, hi.
Hi,
Happy Sunday.
hi, hi, Lucas. Hi, everyone. Happy Sunday. So good to be back. And
Oh, my
we,
goodness.
we are going to have another beautiful Sunday because
Yes.
today we are going to talk about the power of beliefs. And
Yes.
we're going to explore maybe a different perspective on the saying as above, so below, or as within, so without. And we are going to look at the connection between mind
Yes.
and manifestation. How are these two connected? And I'm so excited for us to do so because I love this topic.
This is so important and so timely for everyone to
Yes.
come back. And even before we went live, everyone, Gordana and I were talking about things that I'm going through, and everything revolves back to the mind. Everything.
Yeah.
It's it's all. It is the all. The mind is
Mm.
the all.
Mm.
Um, and here we are helping
Yeah.
people, walking through it ourselves,
Yes.
experiencing it all. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's about it's to understand that when you have a clear mind, that is when you stand in your power position. And that is where you can use the emotions and the beliefs in order to create a reality which you can identify yourself in.
Mm.
And that is what we are trying to do today, or at least what we want to do today, to
Right.
go around this concept of how are we creating this reality? Where are the tools of creating this reality?
Right.
But we have to start with one thing, and this is one of the most important things, to understand that each and every one of us, we are at the center of creation, of physical manifestation. Each and every one of us is a center. So you're at the center of your creation and your reality. I am at the center of my creation and my reality. And understanding what this center means, it means that I am a receiver and a sender. So I receive frequencies
Mm.
re- that are connected to my thoughts and my beliefs and my emotions. And then I send out these frequencies to the formless intelligence, and it brings back images and 3D reality, which is based on a perfect match, a perfect correlation
Mm.
with the frequency that my emotions and thoughts and beliefs
Yes.
send through me. So this means that this reality that I'm looking at right now is created through me based on what I believe and think and feel about it.
Right.
And the same thing goes for you, and the same thing goes for everyone listening and watching this. That is why you are the center of the universe. Regardless of where you are at the center of the universe. The universe is infinite, which means that you are at the center of it. And
Mm.
your mind is the projector into this reality. Your heart is the frequency setter, and
Mm.
your mind is the projector. And you're the explorer of the 3D reality that your mind projected and your heart created into this reality. And this is why it is so important to have a connection between your mind and your heart so
Yes.
that you're not just in your mind. And understanding that center point of awareness, which is you and me and everyone else, and that is where the power is. It's
Mm.
also about understanding that why it is so that when you change, everything changes. It is so because you are at the center of creation, of your own creation,
Yeah.
always.
Yes.
So just understanding that will help us to kind of create a map where we find the truths about how we are creating this reality and how we can tweak and change stuff so that it becomes more identifiable with what we want and not what we don't want. It
Mm.
becomes more conscious instead of unconscious. It becomes more present instead of, you know, everywhere fractured everywhere, so to
Yeah.
speak.
And chaotic
Yeah.
also. It's
Chaotic, yes.
it's another reason why it's so important to be aware of what we consume, because the media, the news specifically, will hijack our own thoughts. They will insert and
Mm-hmm.
then keep filling it so we don't have space. I know I've been guilty of this recently, just constantly researching. And it becomes like, wait, I have forgotten to create space for my I ams, for what I am here for, what I am wanting to explore. I'm in what they want me to explore, and I'm exploring all this. But that's not the reality I want. The reality I want is love, joy, peace, long suffering, goodness, gentle faith, temperance, meekness. I want goodness in this world. I want beauty in this world. I want sovereignty in this world. I want truth and love. But when I'm hijacked by the
Mm-hmm.
news or by these non-stop frequencies that can go into my mind, then it's creating a different reality. So it's a good reminder that we are to take guard, I guess, our minds from what it enters so we can create what we want to see on the outside.
Yes, it is. It is very important to become aware of what you allow to dwell in your mind, and to know. And this was an aha moment for me when I realized that I am manifesting 24/7, 365 days. This means all the time. I am manifesting all the time, which means that how much of that time am I aware of what I'm manifesting? Because there is no, I mean, your reality is continuous. There are no glitches in it. It's working all the time. The machinery that is machinery in quotation marks, of course, the machinery that is creating this reality is on all the time. And the fuel that this machinery uses is my thoughts, my beliefs, and my emotions. And if they are hijacked by an outer source, then I will not identify myself in the reality that I'm creating. Because this machinery continues to create all the time. It does not stop. As long as I'm breathing, it is on. So, how do I become more aware of what it is that I am creating in this reality? And that's where presence becomes really important. We have to be aware of where we are putting our focus. What are we investing our emotions in? Because what we focus on will become our reality. This is what as within, so without means. The esoteric meaning of as within, so without. It means that whatever it is that you are allowing to dwell in your mind will be projected back to you as a 3D version of that. And if we are not aware of what we allow to dwell, if we think that, oh, it's the news, I have to look at the news, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, and unconsciously just jumping into that version of reality, then we're perpetuating a reality that we don't want. We have to stop, pull back, and say, what do I really want to explore this? And then be brutally honest. If you want to explore it, jump in, explore, jump out. But don't stay there just because you're there and it habitually pulls you into it. Because it will always be a matching frequency on the outside. This is why I say we are responsible for everything that is in our reality.
Yeah.
That's a tough one, because what if you have a lot of things that are not good in your reality? And I'm talking about grown-ups now. I'm not talking about children, because they have no choice. They have to be where they are. I think there's a spiritual thing that makes us, or it makes it that way. When you are a grown-up, you have to take responsibility for everything that is in your reality, and to find the brightest way of looking at that again and again and again and again, until you raise your frequency so that you can start manifesting something that is more congruent with what you want to be instead of what you don't want to be. I think that focusing on what's wrong, which is habitual in our society, because we think we need to fix stuff, so we have to focus on what's wrong, it pulls us in the wrong direction. State what is wrong and then focus on what feels right. And if you continually focus on what feels right in your reality. That would create the path of least resistance to reach your goal. Path of least resistance is not laying in your sofa switching Netflix. That's not the path of least resistance. This is actually the path of the most resistance there is. The path of least resistance has to do with focusing on what excites you in that moment, and then following that path without losing sight of the goal that you have in your life.
Mm.
The path of least resistance will always bring the reality that you can identify yourself in, that you feel you own in a way, that you're not a stranger in it, you're not a victim of it, you're not forgotten in it, you're not hiding in it. You're walking a path which excites you. Maybe you don't know exactly what is in your path, but you will still choose the things that excite you, which means that you're sending a signal to the universe that I trust you, give me more of what excites me. And it does.
It also, in the other side of that, if we're talking about this, for me, everyone, this time feels incredibly abusive, like I was a child and experiencing that dread, that impending, it's coming, I can't stop it, I'm going to get hurt. It's coming and coming and coming closer and closer, where now either I'm going to fight or I'm going to raise my frequency and figure out, okay, what am I here to learn? Because I think we're all here to be our own heroes. That is one of the things that I'm clear about. Every individual on this planet was here to be their own hero, not give that away to another person, not give that away to another being or a system, which is why perhaps we experience these things as children and then we come back and they repeat as adults for us to finally learn. But if we are putting ourselves in that frequency and belief system that it will be bad, well, then it will reinforce that it will be bad.
Every single time. There is another ancient saying which says, what you seek always finds you, or what you seek is seeking you. So if you unconsciously seek the fear, the what's wrong in your reality, it will find you without a doubt. This is why I say you have to focus on what feels right, because that will then find you. There is this correlation between the infinite field, the formless intelligence that is out there forming this reality for us, and your mind is, as I say, a perfect match. This is why it's so important to know what it is that you're looking for, consciously or unconsciously. If you feel that you're drawn to the news, then you are unconsciously looking for the things that will not feel like you. So what do we need to do? We need to stop, breathe, and ask a question. What is it that I want in this reality? Without listening to the noise, you can't have it. Just sitting in it. And I think that there are a couple of steps that we can start by exploring these steps. For instance, for me, it's always about when I am in a mode of scarcity, when I am in a mode of fear, when I am in a mode of I feel like I'm threatened by something on the outside. I know that I am exploring a mindset of lack in that moment. And that is always connected to my ego, because ego wants to separate everything. Ego believes in lack. And if I lift my eyes and I look at nature, I see that there is no lack. There is abundance of everything. So if I want to be reminded, or if I want to heighten my awareness of abundance, I need to seek for abundance, proofs of abundance in this reality. And it's everywhere. It's a question of perspective. What I mean by this is, let's say that you're sitting in Sahara. There's sand everywhere. You can say, there is a lack of water here. But you can also say there is abundance of sand. There are two different perspectives. So we need to switch from looking for the lack and looking for the abundance instead. So So if we look in nature, there is abundance everywhere. When we start to become aware of the abundance everywhere, there are apples in the tree and it's abundant. I don't need to do anything. It's abundant. It's there. So if we focus on the abundance, we start to shift perspective so that we start looking for different things in reality too. When we look into society, we can see that there is abundance of love, there is abundance of beauty, there is abundance of kindness. But if we're focused on the lack of it, then we will not be able to see the abundance. So that's the first step, to start practicing awareness of abundance in your reality, to become conscious of where does abundance hide here. The next part would be to allow that abundance into your reality.
And I think a big part of this, while you're sharing that, is that if we are committed to being right, then we're always going to seek that which reinforces our beliefs, even if it doesn't make us feel good. So
Yes.
if someone believes that there's a lack of water in the Sahara Desert, they could dig throughout the abundance of sand all day to prove that there is a lack of water, but that doesn't make them feel better. It just makes them right. And so we have to break away. And that's why I think all these alluring informational pathways, Netflix, it is there to capture your attention. They tell you what the name, it is a net. Hulu, it's a hula hoop. It is something that encircles you to keep you still. You feel there's a lot of gyration and motion, but you're standing still. They tell us in the names. So we are reinforcing these beliefs, even though it doesn't make us feel better. And that's where we have to decide, do we want to reinforce being right, or we want to seek feeling good? And that is, when we feel good, everything aligns to that. The world is more beautiful. The sun shines a little bit more brightly. The birds sing a little bit more beautifully. We can only find that when we break out of the need to be right, to reinforce that negativity.
Yes, it's about understanding what state of mind you are in.
Yeah.
Being aware, becoming the observer of your state of mind, to ask yourself, what is my state of consciousness right now? Am I in ego mode or in soul mode? And if we want to create a reality that is divine here on earth, then we have to connect to the divinity that we have in our soul. This is what as above, so below. So if we follow the principles of love, kindness, compassion, and understanding, we connect to the above. And this is how the below becomes a mirror of the above, because you are the connection between it. And you have to look for these things. You have to look for the love, for the beauty, for the abundance in this reality in order to create a physical reality that mirrors that. So if you follow the principles, the divine principles, and you are heart-centered, you allow yourself to see this reality with your heart, not your fearful ego. That allows you not just to create, but actually to find the love, the beauty, the abundance of everything in this reality. But if we are connected to the ego mind, then we are connected to our lower self, and that will bring lower frequencies into this physical reality. So if we're connected through the ego mind, we can only take in a very, very small portion of the divinity that is our true nature, actually, that is the above. We take very little of this, and then we create a reality that is an ego mind reality. It mirrors our lower self, not our higher self, which is built on principles of love and compassion. So as soon as we fall prey to fear or fall prey to the belief in lack, we are in ego mind, and it creates a reality of scarcity instead of a reality of abundance, because it's just a fraction of the whole, so to speak. And that's the connection between the above and below. It's a question of where you put your quest, where
Yes.
you put, yeah, what is it that you are exploring here? Are you conscious of what you're exploring? And I don't think that anyone consciously says, yes, I want to explore fear. Yes, I want to explore lack. It seems like it's there. It seems like a truth. And your ego will say, yes, look at this. This is the truth. And this is why I say, when you go into nature and you start looking for abundance, that will give you proof that that is not true. This is the truth.
That's right.
So connecting to that abundant form of nature will always put you in the right mindset so that you will create the same divine world where abundance is your true nature here.
Right.
But you have to be awake for it. You can't go to sleep in your ego mind and sit in fear because you believe that truth. It's just a belief. Beliefs are not written in stone. They're
Right.
just beliefs. A belief is actually a thought that seems true to you.
That's right. And we are to change our belief. Belief is a conjunction word of be living, be life. So we
Yes.
are to explore all beliefs because
Yes.
we're here to look at the fractals of a diamond and look at the different facets and the light coming through it. That is someone who's in abundance, not afraid to explore. But it's interesting as you're sharing that, what I'm experiencing and observing with the human collective right now, these words, like I hear love and compassion. Yes, we are here to not only explore, but breathe and be in love and compassion in nature's love and compassion. But there's two ways to define words. There's the ego definition of love and compassion, and there's the soul definition of love and compassion. And I think this is very interesting that we're all using the same words, but we don't mean the same thing. And I've always known this, even when I was a journalist, a TV reporter, I'd say the word story, and I mean truth. I would ask who, what, when, where, why. I would ask both sides. I would get the facts, and then I get two opposing sides to share their view of the story. But someone else could say story and they mean fiction. So like, tell me the story. And it could be this grand, made up adventure, which is fine. But just because we say the word story doesn't mean we mean the same thing. When we say love and compassion and soul, it is like the river that has no end. Track the river. Is the river ever lack? No. Do animals constantly know to come to the river and get water, source, food, energy, life? It is constant. Nature is in abundance.
Always.
But when we're in ego defining these words, it feels like scarcity. And when we're in soul defining these words, it feels like king, I don't know. I don't even know. I want to say kingship, or it's above all the low frequencies.
Yes, it's above because it's literally above. You're connected through the principles that are the truth about this reality. If we stay in ego mind, we can only see a fractal or a fraction, not a fractal. We see a fraction of the truth of this reality, because ego mind will not allow you to vibrate on a high frequency. When you're vibrating on a high frequency, you open up to more frequencies, which means that there will be more possibilities for you. You can see them. You can't see them if you're vibrating on a very, very low frequency. And this is why you need to tap into something that is vibrating on a high frequency, like nature, and it will show you a blueprint of how abundance is created in this reality. So for me, I play a game. I look at people when I walk outside. I look at people and I try to find people that inspire me. Let's say that I see a young couple, they're holding hands, and I go, I love that. They're in love. It's like putting an order to the universe. I'm saying that I want that or better. And the universe listens. But if I'm in ego mind, and let's say that I have no relationship and I'm walking out there and I see a young couple and they hold hands and I think, oh, they're in love. They have love. I don't have any love. There's no one there. I'll never meet anyone. That is the order. And the universe brings me exactly what I want because it's in the ego mind and it will not allow me. I might be passing the perfect partner, but I won't see it because I am in a frequency which is built on jealousy, maybe, or whatever it might be.
Right.
Instead, what I need to do is to tap into the abundance and feel the joy that there are other people that have tapped into that,
Mm,
which means that I can do that too. Instead of pulling myself away from it, saying, that can never happen to me, I need to change the story and open up to the abundance. This is what I mean when I say we need to see the abundance and allow that to become our frequency. And the best place to do that is in nature.
yes.
You can stand on a shore and you can look at the waves coming and going. There's always another wave coming. You can look at the sky and you can see all the clouds and you can say, there's a cloud and there's a cloud and there's another cloud.
Mm,
They don't end. It's always going on. And you trust that tomorrow there will be clouds. Tomorrow the sun will be there. Tomorrow this tree will stand there and it will bring fruit. There is trust, there is no doubt in it. But when we focus on artificial things like the news and the fear and the scarcity created by us human beings, because we are the ones that have created it, it's not any divine thing going on. We have created it.
mm,
We could end it tomorrow if we wanted to. That's how strong beliefs are. We can just say, no, let's change, stir things up, and there won't be any scarcity. But
mm.
we are taught to think stories about scarcity and ourselves from the first breath we take.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we need to change that story to start thinking, if they can, I can. If nature can, I can. And that's why I say to start looking for the path of least resistance by following what excites you the most
Yes.
in every now moment. That doesn't mean that you're always doing things that makes you happy, but you're always aware. Can I do this in a different way that will give me more joy?
Mm,
That's how you stay in that open frequency. That's how you guard your mind from the pollution that is out there. If we're going to talk about pollution, that's the real pollution here going on.
right.
The mind pollution that we are going through.
And what's fascinating is you're sharing this. I'm thinking nature. What's the biggest differentiator between humanity right now and nature? And I realize that people are watching this through a device on YouTube, but media. Nature doesn't have
Mm,
media. Nature
mm,
does not have a hijacking narrative to create a false reality. Nature is what is seen objectively. Can
mm,
you imagine what the world would be like? And I can't, I do. And I pray that
mm,
someday we get to this place where our consciousness is how we communicate more than media and devices and these black boxes that suck us in. But
mm,
can you imagine if no media, no constantly marketed propaganda and fear and control, whatever it is, of anything, of any time, doesn't have to be now
mm,
during this era, it could be
mm,
at any time. If that went away
mm,
and we actually had to look at each other again and introduce
mm,
ourselves to our neighbors again and say, well, what do you like to do? Who are you?
mhm,
And what are you about? And we
yes.
start building that deep relationship because
Mm,
in nature, the trees, why do trees live? One tree could die, but the rest don't die. Why? Because they are communicating to each other. Or if a tree gets sick, they and their root systems will give that sick tree the nutrients
mhm,
needed to live. Nature is in a beautiful harmony
mhm,
of abundance, of
yes.
love, of freedom,
Mhm,
of sovereignty, of
mhm,
presence.
mhm,
But this swirling storm of media that is never enough. Who has ever watched something and said, I've watched it all? There's always something else. There's always another thing.
yes.
And believe me, I mean, I'm sharing just my own experience because I've been going
Mm.
through consuming so much, but it's like it's never
Mhm.
enough. But nature, I
No,
go just
mm. I think that nature does not question the universe as its partner in creation.
mm.
We
That's
question the universe all the time.
so
We think
good.
that we know
Yeah.
better. We think that we need to control things. We think that we need to tweak things, fix things, attract things. And that's not the truth. What we need to do is to start looking for the good things, acknowledging them as the blueprint that we actually want to have created. But then we have to be awake so that we will know when the universe brings us what we want. And I think we are
That's
not awake. It
right.
is bringing us every good thing that we've ever wanted, and yet we cannot see it because we are not in tune with that the universe is our partner in creation. Can
Mm.
you imagine if we realized this fully and utterly and saying, the universe is my partner in creation? How can I help this partner,
Mm.
this abundant giver, to give me what I want? Because it will give you what you want unconditionally.
Right.
That is the connection between the above and below. The universe or the quantum field or God or the formless intelligence out there will give you exactly what it is that you want or don't want. It bases it on your frequency. And I can't say this enough because this is really important to understand this. So if the universe unconditionally brings you everything, I mean, the least you can do is become aware of what is the order that you're ordering. It's like going to McDonald's. You have to be aware of what you're ordering if you want to be satisfied with what you get. By the way, I never go to the McDonald's, so I don't know why I brought that up. But anyway, I make my own food, every single thing I cook for myself. So anyway, but if you, it's like an order, really like an order, and we have to become aware of what it is that we're consciously and unconsciously ordering,
Mm.
because otherwise what I'm talking about here actually is the unconscious practice that we do every single day, making it more conscious. So when we wake up in the morning, the unconscious practice is to pick up the phone and start looking, scrolling in the phone while you're walking to the kitchen. You have this phone here.
Yeah.
That is unconscious practice, because what happens is the phone or whatever it is that you're scrolling will set your frequency.
Yes.
The universe doesn't care what the phone says, but the universe cares about the frequency that goes on within you, and it matches it perfectly. So put it away, wake up, and start thinking, how do I want to be today? Do I want to be aware? What does it mean for me to be aware? What does it mean for me to become more conscious, to become more sentient in this reality, and say no to this and yes to that? Becoming more in that balanced position where you make choices. Just making an intention in the morning that you want to be in control of that makes you a more conscious creator. Your practices become more conscious. You understand that they help you tune in to the right frequency. It's also about habitual manifesting. We just go around, do things. We don't think about what we're doing. So we
Right.
are manifesting habitually. How do you break a habit? I mean, you have to become aware of that
Yeah.
it is a habit. So flipping on Netflix in the evenings is not recreation. It's an unconditional habit, which is, by the way, like taking sleeping pills.
Yeah.
It it stops you from exploring who you are. It stops the pain very shortly, but it also stops you from exploring who you are. It stops you from living. So, habitual manifestation, we have to ask ourselves, why am I doing this? Do I want to do this?
Mm.
It's painful questions, but at the same time, if you can answer it, why am I doing this? And it doesn't feel right, then stop doing it.
So good.
It's it's also, you talked about stories, how we put different things into the word story.
Yeah.
If you want to be able to tell your true story, you have to become aware of what it is that you're telling yourself about your life. What is the narrative? What is the story that keeps on going on in your mind? Because the universe listens to that too, and it delivers. So if your story is, it'll never work. No, I can't do that. I'm too stupid. No, I don't have the money. Oh no, I can't. No, 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 no. If the story is no, then no is what you get back. Perfectly matching no. So becoming aware of these things, if awareness is key.
Yeah.
Also, not thinking that what your ego tells you is the truth.
Right. Right.
And it fights because it wants you to believe in fear, in lack, in separation. It wants you to believe that. But you can say, yes, that's a part of reality, but there's another part too, which my soul wants.
Yeah.
And I want to explore that part. So it's not, as I say, it's not written in stone. It's not the truth. Might be a truth that is in this physical reality. It seems like the truth, but it can never be the truth unless it's connected to understanding, sharing, love. That is where the truth kind of dwells. It
Right.
doesn't dwell in fear.
Right. The concept of as above, so below, or as within, so without is, I'm glad we're talking about this, because this is the primary operating system of the universe.
Yes.
And when we don't
Yes.
understand that operating system, and we're using some other operating system that wants to hijack this, we aren't at peace. But when we understand, my thoughts, first of all, why humans are so attractive to a certain faction of dwellers on this earth that want to use humanity for a purpose, transhumanism, be it cyborg technology, or AI infusion, is because we are the only species that can take a thought, create a thought in our mind, and bring it to reality. We are incredibly unique. A dog can't think infinitely about what it wants to create. A dog's a dog, but humans can. We can right now pull anything out of our mind, and with enough people, resources, time, and energy, create whatever comes to our mind. It's incredibly, we are so powerful. We are so powerful. And if we don't understand how powerful we are by the operating system of the universe, someone else who understands that power will gladly use us as a battery to fuel their outcomes. You see,
yeah. I think what you're saying here is that our ability to imagine, create images of what we want, is unique in a way. And the notion that we actually do have free will of what we allow to dwell in our mind is how we are defined as creators here, because we are creators here, as above, so below, in that sense too. We are creating our own physical reality. If we're talking about God creates everything. I mean, all that is, we are a smaller fractal of that, in a smaller sense, in the physical reality, which means that we are using our imagination in order to project images to this infinite field. And these images are then reflected back to us in the form of a 3D reality. So imagination is key. But we think of imagination as something that will give us ideas at work, or if you're an artist, it will bring you some ideas of what to create. What we're talking about here is imagination as a tool of reality creation. and
Yeah.
it's on all the time. This is for me, for instance, I see worrying and daydreaming as one and the same thing because it uses your imagination. The
Mhm.
difference is the frequency that it uses. Worrying will create a reality where you can't see how you got there because it's not your true frequency. It is based on ego mind projections and fear, whereas daydreaming is based on something that you desire, a higher frequency, and something that you want. So when a daydream comes true, you might say, "Oh, it's a miracle! It actually came through, and I created it because I daydreamt about it." So you can identify yourself as the creator of that daydream and the goal of that daydream. But you can't identify yourself as the creator of the reality which you created by worrying, because it's something that you don't want. And you'll ask yourself, why am I in this situation? Because I don't want it. Because the universe, which is your partner in creation, is unconditional and it listens to your frequency. And you have a choice. You can daydream about a good result, or you can worry about a bad result. It's up to you. The universe will bring whatever it is that you're focused on. So that is how we can use our imagination as the tool that it actually is. It's not about being creative and playing around. It's literally, how do you manage your life? How
Mm.
do you use your imagination? Are you allowing other people's ideas and beliefs and systems to be the food for your imagination, or are you actually actively thinking about the things that you want?
Mm.
I also look at this when we visualize things, when we sit in a quiet place and we start visualizing things that we want in our reality. This is how we literally speak to the universe. We are
Mm.
sending pictures to the universe and telling, this is what I want. This is my visualization. This is what I desire in this reality. When we sit in meditation silently and not visualizing, when we don't want to have any thoughts, this is when we open up so that the universe can send images to us of what it wants from us. So the difference between meditation and visualization is that one is going up, the other one is going from up down. So that is the connection between above and below. When you consciously send your images up, then you're telling the universe, this is what I want. When you're sitting in meditation and allowing the universe to speak to you, the universe brings in the principles. And this is why you feel the love and
Mm.
expansion and abundance when you meditate.
Yes. Yes.
So but it's still a connection. And it's not just one way, it's actually two ways.
Yes.
So you're speaking, it listens, it speaks, you listen. That's the proper connection. But
Yes.
if you're shouting, yelling, fearing, worrying, that's also a communication, and it's answering,
Mm.
giving you back exactly what you're asking for. And if you never meditate, then it can never help you connect to the principles, the truth, the love, the abundance, the expansion. This is why you need to sit in silence sometimes, not on Netflix and news and your phone and all the stuff.
Yeah.
That is why this silence is so important, because this is a subtle voice, a very strong one, but it's subtle and it's almost like a whisper because it doesn't want to go against your free will. It is there as an opportunity to tap into it, but it can't force you to do
That's
so.
right.
So if
That's
your ego is screaming so loud that you can't hear the whisperings of your soul, that means that you need to shut the ego down a bit
right.
and then listen to the whisperings of the soul.
Mm.
That's the connection between the two. Sorry, I
No, it's
interrupted
really
you.
it's so important. That's the relationship between giving and receiving, the masculine and the
Mhm.
feminine, and we do that at the same time. But also, this I think this is so important. I feel like I've talked about this almost in every live that we do. The universe is love, but
Mhm.
love is not an emotion or feeling. Love is a law, and love gives without condition. That's all love does. That's all love is. So when we are in love with someone, we are saying, I will give you of myself and I will receive of you who you are without condition. We are in the unconditional giving law. But that word has been hijacked to feeling, emotion, pop culture, romantic comedies, and all these things that are all conditionally based. But what you're saying is the universe is going to give you exactly what you tune into, because the universe is unconditionally loving. It does not judge what you request. It only shows you what you're requesting, and it is our job to awaken, is this the highest good, the highest truth, the highest beauty? Am I more free? Are others more free? Or am I less free? And because I am less free, others become less free, because we all are connected in this collective. That's why they say a rising tide lifts all ships. The more love and light we exude, the more love and light there is in the world for people to have that contrast, like, oh, I need more love and light. And if we have the humility and we're not in fear, but we're in soul, and ask, our conversation before we went live helped me click into, oh, okay, yes. We're not meant to do it alone, but the aloneness is in the ego. In the soul, we're all connected in this one reality. So I don't know where I'm going with that, other than the universe is love, and it will give us exactly who we are, what we're tuned into at every given moment.
Yes, it won't question you. That is how much it respects your free will. And also, that is why it's unconditional. This is also why you're here to learn, because it won't punish you if you make the wrong step, the wrong decision. I mean, you can live half your life making the wrong decisions, and then you have an illuminating moment, and the universe goes, here you go. Take everything. Abundantly yours. It's been there all the time. I'm so happy that you're on board with this. And then it gives you exactly what you want. But it's a question of not putting any conditions on it and standing in that light and just receiving. I think that we learn how not to receive when we are small children, because everything is conditioned in this reality. So we shut that ability down. If we would allow ourselves to be in the receiving mode and in the joyous mode all the time, and in the no doubt mode, then we would be receiving all the time. But we put conditions on literally everything in our reality, and that creates everything else but abundance, because there are conditions. Abundance is there. It can't be any conditions on it. And it's always in the now moment. We can see it always in the now moment. And of course, when we talk about abundance, people would say, well, yeah, it's okay if you have money, but if you don't, then you can't live in abundance. And I know for sure that this isn't true, because I come from a very poor home. My parents both worked in factories, and we could almost never make ends meet. And I was always aware of the lack of money, the lack of things, always aware of it. I had to struggle myself out of that mindset in order to see the beauty that is everywhere. And it's for free. The beauty I'm talking about is for free. There's a sunset, and then in the morning, there will be a sunrise, and it goes on and on and on and on. So there's your abundance. It shows you, it's a fractal of how this reality really works. And then we have hijacked certain parts of it, built our own belief systems around it, which are, by the way, very fragile. That is why advertisement and all of these things has to go on and on and on. Because as soon as we stop being in that wheel, we can see the beauty again. Because the beauty is there all the time. It doesn't matter what we do, it will still be there. The thing is to be able to see it, to receive it, and to be open to receive it. So just dialing down the should have, would have, could have, must do,
Mm,
lack, dialing up, where am I right now and what would make me happy in this moment?
mm.
And then do that, whatever it is. The small things. I think that the biggest changes are made in the small things.
Mm.
We always think that we need to change the world, and that makes us stop, because who can change the entire world? It's exhausting just thinking about it. But
Yes.
if you can think the small step that you can take, you can give your child a hug, you
Mm.
can stay a little bit longer when you look at a flower, you can smell the rain.
Yes.
That's where it comes in small portions. It comes in and creates an opening frequency. It creates an ease within you.
Mm.
The small, small, small things. That's the only way to do it, I think. We can't do it in a grand scale. I think we have to do it in the small, because we are the co-creators. I think we talked about this in our last Sunday Live. We're the co-creators of this reality. We are all builders of this reality. And the building blocks are our beliefs, which are based on the frequency that we harbor within, which are based on the imagination that we're using in order to create this reality. So there is a circle here, and each and every one of us is as important as anyone else, because the belief is the building block. A belief can be like a virus, it can become contagious. If a lot of people believe in lack and you are able to convince them that there is lack,
Mm.
then they will be projecting a reality that is based on that untrue thought about lack.
Mm.
And it seems true because you're creating it. That is what a creation is. It's supposed to seem true to you. Otherwise, you would be able to see behind the veil and say, huh, it's not real. Well, it isn't. It's just an illusion, but you're choosing what illusions you want to explore here.
It is the greatest gift to
Hmm.
be a creator in this reality. It's
Yes.
also um, perhaps the most forgotten gift. The conscious,
Yes.
the intentionally conscious
Yes.
creator, the
Hmm.
passive, um, and maybe that's what the awakening really is within oneself, is understanding this divine right that we all are already doing.
Hmm.
But now we get to be at the helm of that ship and steer,
Hmm.
where do I want to actually create?
Look at it this way. For me, it was really, I had a resistance to this, thinking that I am a creator.
Mm,
But if I think of it this way, when I see myself as the creator, and I know that the principle of abundance is to be unconditionally loving, that means that if I tap into it, I become a creator of love in this reality.
mm,
And that can give me some peace, because I don't have to look at it for it anywhere. It comes from me. I am the creator of it, which means that anyone I meet, be it a dog, a bird, a human being, if I look at them and see the beauty that is there, then I am the creator of that love, that abundance, that unconditional reality, that divinity, that divine reality here, because I am able to imagine it. I am able to see it. So, the ability to see the beauty, the ability to be kind, the ability to be nice to other people, the ability to be nice to myself, to put myself into that equation, creates heaven on earth.
mm. Yeah, yeah.
It's all here. It's like they say, the kingdom of
Yes,
heaven is within you.
yes,
It
yes.
literally is, because you are the one choosing the interpretation of what it is that you're creating. You're literally choosing the interpretation of your own creation. So if you made a mistake somewhere down the path and your reality isn't exactly as you wanted, mistake in quotation marks because you're not aware of it, then you can choose. The universe will adapt itself to that. it will do anything to adapt itself to your frequency. It's like, I wrote a tweet the other day where I said the universe surrounding you, flowing through you, manifesting every belief you have, is always at your service. What happens when we become fearful, when we feel that it's pushing and pulling and we go into ego, is that we forget that it is at our service. If it's at our service, it's up to you to ask for help. It's up to you to ask for the right frequency. How do you do that? Well, you start looking for what it is that you want to see in this reality. Be the change that you want to be. I mean, that is as above, so below. Literally.
I'm so glad we're able to bring these last week's I mean, as we continue down these lives, part of it's just remembering our divine truth. Our it's just remembering who we are. It's remembering, and to remember we need to pause. And this is what these Sundays are causing people to pause. I get messages, people, this is when we remember, we're remembering, we're putting back the members of our right self. We're putting ourselves back in that place of
together. Yes.
Together again. Yeah. And so this is such a beautiful live, and thank you.
Thank you too. I really feel like it's important to, as you say, pause, to allow yourself to just for a moment think in another direction, just for a moment be in another place in your mind, just for a moment allow other images to occupy the space in your head and your heart. Because when you do that, you give yourself thinking about new things.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's my, here we go. But yeah, because it's a question of giving yourself permission, allowing yourself to open up, not being afraid to do so, allowing yourself to open up to the truths in this reality, not tapping into all the artificially made beliefs and thoughts that we have projected into it, specifically on social media. I mean, it's an artificial world. It's not the real world. And if we tap into, the artificial world, well, we will be creating an artificial reality, which can never be trusted in the same way as the nature out there. You can trust it. It will always be there.
That's right.
So, you know what? I want us to end this Sunday live with understanding the concept of this as above, so below. So if we see it like this, your thoughts are the seeds. The quantum field or the universe is the soil. Your beliefs, your thoughts, and your emotions are the water. And physical reality is the garden that you're walking in, and you're the gardener of that garden. That's the relationship between the above and below, within and without. You're literally set, the center of that cross is you. Yes. And I think it's such a beautiful image to look at yourself as the gardener, choosing what seeds you want to plant and what beliefs you want to water those seeds with. Emotions, just becoming aware of them. If they're fearful, if they're negative, if they're restraining you, then you need to pull back, meditate, and listen to what the higher self, what your soul wants you to hear.
Beautiful.
Really beautiful.
I'm gardening with you this morning, I'll tell you.
Yes, we're gardening together here. But I want us all to start gardening together and creating more peaceful moments, more peaceful now moments for ourselves and for each other, because that is where we are receiving the abundant frequency.
It's good.
Yes.
Well,
I so hope that people took the time to listen and to allow the images into their mind today.
yeah, I hope so too. We've had beautiful Keith and Tara and Sergey and Lantern. Thank you for watching, commenting, sharing, and we'll continue these lives next week. Same place.
Yes. Absolutely. We will explore more of the hidden part of reality and how we can use that so that we will create lives that we actually enjoy here.
Can't wait. I can't wait.
Yes, me too.
Next week. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.